Hi, welcome to this episode, I guess. Welcome to you guys. You guys, from what I know, went to the regional finals of the CFA Institute Research Challenge and did pretty well from what I heard from Dr. C and Penny. Quickly, could we have a round of introductions? And I think there is two people who are not on this call, so please introduce them as well.
I'll start with myself then. I'm Keshav and I have like 3 years of work ex in financial services industry. So I was pretty prepared for this competition and I'm now a part of full-time MBA program at UTD.
My name is Joanne. I'm also an MBA student here. Before MBA, I also worked in finance business. I have 7 years of finance experience helping startup with their fundraising. So for me, so large part of my work was reading the equity researches from for those benchmark companies, listed companies, and also I have to do the industry research for startups and help them make their strategy for fundraising. So that's working experience helped me maybe prepared me for this competition.
Hello, I'm Rahul. I'm a senior graduating this semester in finance and economics. I play for UTD chess team here, and this is my first finance competition ever. So I was mostly just following the lead of Keshav and Joanne. Uh, I've done other competitions which are not this. I've done economics competition before, but yeah, this was my first ever. I'll also introduce the other two. One is Lisa. Lisa is a junior majoring in finance. She is the president of FLA, which is one of the bigger finance associations in UTD. And the final member we had was Rohan, who graduated in December. He graduated with a degree in finance. I think he interned or maybe he works with Fannie Mae. I'm not very sure about that, but yeah, so that's five of us.
Awesome. Right off the bat, what motivated you to take part in this competition in general? Yeah.
So I think if I speak for myself, in the first semester I was like really highly motivated. So I took part in two competitions actually, this one and another one. And both of them were really finance heavy, so that's where I want to go as well, going forward in my career. So, and I have a background in finance as well, working. So I was pretty confident that I can take a lead role in both of these competitions, but also learn from it because one of them was a private valuation competition, and this was a stock pitch recommendation. So I have worked in wealth management, but this is something new to me. I've done financial modeling, created models, and which I we heavily used in this competition as well. But there were a lot of aspects that were new to me, and I wanted to learn about them.
I knew from my undergrad that CFA Institute is the world famous organization. So I believe for every student in finance major, if they have the CFA certificates, I think they will probably ace in their job seeking activities. So that's why, as a student here in MBA and MS, we have to look for job after graduation. So I think if we can have a good um, a good experience from this competition, CFA competition, that will add value to our resume. So this is my first consideration, and the second is that for me, I'm not a native speaker in English. So in this competition, they have written report competition, and the second round is presentation. I also benefited a lot from the presentation competition because I I think we, in preparing for the presentation, we we did a lot of research, and we also designed our story, our story for that, for our pitch. And also we practiced a lot for our as a group for this story. So for me, I did benefit a lot from this presentation. Oh, and the third point is that this is also a group project. It's not like what I did before. Previously, I researched alone at home. Like I read the financial report. I did in this research, but this is a group project. So I think our the leadership skill and our project management, time management got improved in this competition.
Yeah, so from what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, uh, you guys signed up pretty late, and I think that may have gotten some time challenges. Can we talk about that? Is that true?
Oh, I think maybe you said that we submitted our
No,
report pretty late from Penny or Dr. C,
no.
right?
I think you guys had less
I don't think
time.
we registered late.
No, I did. We didn't register, but I think maybe Dr. C or Penny told you that we submit our written report pretty late. We
It
didn't
was
even send to Dr. C.
okay. So that's the story that it was not technically late because we did submit it before the
Very
deadline,
late.
but
Very late.
but you ideally should have a day or two for buffer just in case, and
Yeah.
we submitted it kind of too close for comfort for with the deadline. And right, as she mentioned, we were not able to send the report to Dr. C before
Oh,
submitting. So we showed her the report after the fact. But turned out it
Yeah,
to be good. So
I think that was our takeaway from the first round, because I think we did submit very late, like
yeah,
7 minutes before deadline. So that was actually a very chaotic for me, for me. So
yeah.
I think so that was what we improved in the second round. So when we got second round, we still had to submit our presentation, like the deck, the slides, to the CFA Institute. And in the second round, we submitted one day before, and we also went to Dr. C's office, and and we rehearsed in front of her. That was what we didn't do in the first round. We didn't even
That's
send
true.
our written report in the first round to Dr. C and ask for her, advice, because I think we didn't manage the time well in the first round. So
Yeah.
yeah. So but we were improving on that in the second round.
Yeah, I think we underestimated how much time it would take to do certain things, and that delayed kind of because our target was to get it ready a day or two before the deadline,
Yeah.
but we needed to
Yeah, but
push.
the good news is that even Dr. didn't see our draft in the first round, but the CFA Institute,
Sharon,
yeah, Sharon kept telling Dr. Z that our written report was the best report in the 6 years of the grading of her grading experience.
of
So
like the judges that were reading the
yeah.
reports, they thought that our report was like one of the best, if not the best, in the last 6 years of the grading. So
Oh, wow.
that was a good.
That's awesome. Yeah, just for some clarity, what is the structure of this competition?
So we registered for the competition around the first week of December. That's why we I think the last week of November, first week of December. That's why we made the teams. That's when we first met each other, and we got the company to research on also the same time, and we got the information on the from the company, all their financials and everything around Jan first, second week. And then the first round written report was due February 5th. And that's what they're referring to, where we submitted it like 2, 3 months before it was due, like a school assignment, not a
Yeah,
competition.
yeah,
Uh, And after that, we went to the finals where we we got to know that we went to the finals on 15th of Feb, and first March is when we had the presentation in San Antonio. So we had 15 days of prep to make new slide deck, practice, and travel and go there and present. And we did not make past that round, but if we did, then there would have been other rounds maybe a bit after that. Yeah. And these go all the way until like, so I think this was, so we were competing in the Texas region. And if we won that, we would have been, I think, Texas champions, you could say.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of other regions all over America. They're going to be American,
National
Inter-American,
fun. Yeah.
national, yes. And after that, it's going to be international, and then they're going to be crowned official winner.
Oh,
So it's a pretty long process, let's say,
Mm.
until it finishes.
Because that it was really long, and so the commitment is critical.
Yeah, Dr. C sent us an email and it did specify that this competition would take a lot more time than some of the other competitions would. So be sure that you can dedicate that time. And it might be a tendency for students to underestimate that statement, but I can attest to it. This will take a lot of time, especially if you move to the further rounds as well. It will go on till like May.
Mm.
So be sure you have enough time to dedicate to this with your studies.
so you guys submitted the report, and then you had to go to San Antonio. And I've heard there's some funny stories in the travel aspect of that.
Oh,
Can we talk
What
about
was it?
that?
Sorry.
I think Rahul would be able to better. His bus got delayed, don't you remember?
What?
His bus got
Uh,
delayed.
Oh, okay.
so we were traveling to San Antonio. So the university helped us fund some part of the trip and some not. The travel was not really travel was something we took care of ourselves. So we took the cheapest option, the bus, and as the cheapest option, it was not as good. I think everyone had some issues, but I was struggling throughout. The bus, the journey should be taking around 6 hours. It took me around 13 hours.
Oh, wow.
I think I changed buses. Buses got delayed. It was a mess. But the fun part is that I haven't spoken to you guys also after the event. But on the way back, similar thing happened and it took a while again to come back.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's just I think problem with traveling without a car. Let's say. So yeah.
Little more serious question. What were the biggest, I think, challenges you guys faced during this? And yeah.
So coordinating was a challenge because we are all from like different programs. So we had different time commitments for our studies for our other group projects that we had to do. So fixing a time was challenging, especially because when we started this competition, this was right before the winter break was coming. So like I went back to India and these guys were still in the States. So there was a time difference as well, and we had to coordinate that. So overall coordination was a challenge, but I think we did pretty well because like when Rahul was talking about the structure of the competition, we divided up the work into different sections and we each took responsibility for them. And ultimately, like we said, our report was really good. It turned out to be really good. So yeah, it was a challenge, but I think we handled it very well.
Yeah.
You guys want to add something?
I can, yeah. This is competition happens every year, and we send a team every year. And Dr. C takes care of it. And she told me that before you get in, or even before we spoke about this, I think all the way in like August or September, and she's telling me that making a team of good people is one thing, which is not the hardest challenge, but keeping them all going until the end is way harder. And I think we did that, and we managed to, do that. So that was, I think, a good aspect of our team, I'd say. Yeah.
And yeah, let's talk about the team a little bit. So with the team, were there like roles you guys established for yourselves, or like who was good at what, who was responsible for what else in general? Was there kind of like a dynamic that was built?
Oh, okay. Actually, we didn't assign a role, a specific role for
Yeah.
each one, but we do have the our own allocation of this work. So for me, maybe I because I worked for a lot of years, several years before this MBA program. So and also my work was directly related with this valuation or investment research area. So I think I contributed a more in this framework of this report, in this storyline of the report and the slides. Um, and also I took the financial analysis part because I also worked as an auditor before in KPMG. So I think that because that was the most detail and this technical parts. So I took that part, and Kashyap, you can share your experience and your role.
Yeah, so I just want to add to what she said that it was less of an assignment of roles, but we first decided what we need to do in that report. So there were several sections like industry analysis, competitor analysis, financial uh, part, and so on. So since Joanne and I have a background in finance already, we took up the brunt of the finance sections. She took up the financial analysis portion of that, developed all the thesis for our presentations and reports. I took up the part for the financial modeling. So the actual valuation part of coming up with the share price, that was done by me. We used multiple models to reconcile to get to a single price recommendation. I took up that. I got a lot of help from Joanne as well in that. I think then there was an overall industry analysis which was taken up by Rohan.
Yeah, Rohan.
And I think Joanne took up the competitive landscape as well. I think she did not
Yeah,
mention
that's just a group work.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And then Lisa did ESG.
Lisa
Yeah.
did ESG.
Yeah, Rahul, you can
Rahul can talk about this part.
yeah, your role.
I was focusing on industry risks, but I think more than that, I think let's say our paths were all somewhat. Let's say they had 15% weightage each part, whatever we discussed so far. But I think whatever we did, we used to go back to Joanne Keshav and be like, okay, it's not like reporting, but we check with them. Okay, how do you guys think about this?
Yeah, because
Because
the
they
topics
understand.
because the
Yeah,
topics we cover, so we cover different topics, but these topics are interrelated. So we need to make our report, the finalized report, in a coherent. So that will involve a lot of group discussion.
Yeah, because the report had to tell a story, and that story needed to be consistent throughout the report. So it couldn't be that like my models are telling a different story than Joanne's financial analysis. So we had to align that obviously in the way how we approach things. Obviously, we can't change the numbers, of course, right?
Yeah.
We have to use the numbers that there are in the 10Ks and in the reports. But the story aspect is where we came together again, like regularly for each of our paths so that we can align our report in a consistent manner.
Looking back, if you could change anything of this entire journey, what would it be?
I think we change it so that we'll submit the report at least a day or two before instead of a few minutes before the deadline. Apart from that, I think we were pretty good. There's not a lot of changes that we need to make. Nothing comes to my mind. You guys can probably.
For me, it's just I think I would suggest we contact the industry mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was critical for me because so the time management, it's easy for to next time when we have another new project, let's we can just set different internal deadlines to do the time management. It's easy, but I would say yeah, I do think we missed the the
Opportunity to
yeah
work with
yeah
the industry
the
mentor.
help. We missed the help from the industry mentor.
I think what that could have done is we had to dive a lot into the industry analysis. Maybe if we contacted the expert, that effort could have been reduced and it would have been a little more efficient. But for the quality of the presentation or the report, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking about the presentation, what was that like? What was that experience like preparing for the presentation and delivering it and the questions and all of that?
So this is what Dr. C advised us as well. She told us that teams, what they do is they get bogged down into updating the numbers and the figures and do not focus on the presentation part as much. So from the get go, we thought that updating the numbers is secondary because in 2 weeks you can't update numbers to tell a different story altogether, right? So it was not a whole lot of work there. Instead, we focused on the presentation. So what the slides looked like they needed to look decent, but more than the designing aspect, we focused on how they what the flow of the presentation is in those slides and if it tells a coherent story that we also told in the report as well. And for the presentation part, we like regularly coordinated. We also did a mock presentation in front of Dr. C just to get us suggestions on what we need to do for the improvement. We also set like internally we set limits on each of our sections because we had a 10-minute limit for the entire presentation. And we did like 40 slides or something for
Oh,
in 10
wow.
minutes. So
Yeah.
that was a interesting challenge for all of us.
Because Dr. Z reminded us that even though the judges have very good feedback on our written report, but the second round is completely new competition because the judges will not look back on your written report. They will only judge on the presentation you had that day. So everything we practiced in classroom, like eye contact, like the ways you engage your audience, and also some like the pauses, the intonations, everything matters in that presentation. So we just practiced, and it's also strictly timed. So that's why the practice not only by yourself, practice with the team all together is so critical. And also for the slides, I think it's easier for people to add something, but it's much harder to make it concise, to remove something without hurting the storyline of your presentation. So you need to be really clear about the all the key points you want to convey to your audience, and simplify the slides to make it within under the 10 minutes. So you need to be very clear about what your key points are.
And CFA also, like CFA Institute gives you recordings of the previous winners. So that's a really good like reference
learning
point and
resource, yeah.
resource so that like you can decide how to pace your
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah. Before the presentation, we watched several years, like many years of the CFA global finals presentation from YouTube. So we we just learned from the those final winners performance. Yeah.
Let me actually give a run through of the presentation, like the structure presentation, and how the day went. The presentation was like a 10-minute presentation, as Keshav mentioned, and there was a 10-minute Q&A after. So we had to prepare for both before.
Oh,
And
Q&A.
the
Yeah.
Q&A is something you can't really predict what they're going to ask you, the three judges. It's going to be based on the presentation we have, but it could be regarding any topic, regarding the structure. The first question we got was regarding tariffs. So that was fun. But and the presentation itself, so we were a team of five, and each person had a specific part of the written report they did. But Lisa, who was working on ESG, was sick just
Oh, yeah.
before the travel, so she couldn't travel with us. So Rohan stepped up and took her part also, and he did both the parts. But I think yeah, overall it was challenging also because most of our team was not. Not to sound rude, but we are not that charismatic speakers. We are not gonna be there the center of the show kind of people. We are more. We've learned speaking over time, public speaking over time. So it was a bit challenging, but I think we practiced enough times with Dr. C, with ourselves, and we also knew our material fairly well, which helped us, I think, do pretty well in the competition.
I would disagree. I think we were pretty confident in the presentation. Like delivery wise, I think it's just even with Joanne and Rahul, it's just was our team's tendency to not be that confident about their presenting skills for some reason, because I have seen her presenting in the classes and everything, and I can vouch for her presentation skills, but she was a little underconfident before the presentation. But as soon as this was done, the competition was done, I asked her like, what was your major learning experience through all of this? And she said that now she feels much more confident presenting in front of people. But I think
Yeah, that's
that's
what I thought.
more of
Yeah.
uh, the thinking process in their minds
Yeah.
instead of their
Yeah.
actual the quality of delivery, because our flow was really good. I would tell you, we also had, so we actually discussed this as well, that if we had only one clicker or two clickers or something like that, and if there's a problem with the clickers, because this has happened, I think, in the past, and we faced it too. In the middle of our presentation, the clicker stopped working, but that did not affect the flow of our presentation. The transitions were still good. It did not like move us out of the headspace. So I think
Mhm.
we were confident. It's just that we, like, at least we put ourselves to a lot higher standards. So that's why Rahul's words that we might not be that charismatic, but I think as a presentation, as a group, we did really good and we were confident about it. Because when you work for a project over a few months, you can't just like bluff it out, right? You have to have a story, and we did work it out. We did really believe in that story because that's what we found through our analysis. So it was not like we were not confident about the story. So yeah.
All right. Final few questions. What advice would you give students who may be planning or are considering to take part in the competition next year?
The first step is make sure you have the time to commit to this, because this is gonna take a lot of efforts and a lot of time. It's worth it to give this time, especially I think Rahul would vouch for this. If you want to go into finance but do not have a background or much experience in that, if you work with team members that are already experienced in finance, like these guys worked with us, it's a good way to get accustomed to that, because when you don't have a background in finance, it might not be as easy to break it in your professional life or in your career as easily. But through these competitions, you actually have a first-hand experience, because even with the stock pitch recommendations, this is actually what they are doing in the industry, even if this
Yeah.
was a competition. So this was worth it, but make sure you have time. The second advice I would give is, like everyone has mentioned, like use the resources that you have, Dr. C and the industry mentor, whoever they are assigned. Use the CFA resources like we did, like the previous year's winners reports and the video presentations. Be confident, be confident and build your story around what you find rather than trying to make up a story just to impress the judges, because that's not going to work. When we presented our stuff, there were varying opinions. There were sell recommendations, there were hold, there were buy, and the two winners that were there, one of them was sell, one of them was buy. So it's not like the judges want a specific answer. There's no right answer, right? For this. This is your recommendation, how well you back it up. So you'll have to actually believe in what you're going to present, and that only comes with the deep research. So yeah, that would be my advice.
My advice was so first aim high. Yeah. So I think it's the difficulty level of this competition is much higher than the classroom, any classroom course, like even for our finance major, MS in finance major class. So because this is a competition, and if you're lucky to get into the global, global final, a national final, global final, you're meet a lot of strong competitors. So this is competition. So don't settle on the medium level, like classroom level, like treat it this project like any other classroom project you did before. Say, oh, okay, this is enough. No, it's not enough. So in our project, that when we finished our first draft, and we later found, oh, there are more or a better solution to this topic. Or when we finish our first draft of the presentation, we found, oh, there are global winners the presentation on YouTube. And then we watched as many of the videos as we can to improve the quality of our, to revisit our draft. And so I think, so first, this is a competition, it's not homework, so aim high. And my other takeaway is that even though you aim high, maybe you're never like us, we failed in our regional round, but still I think this is a good opportunity to learn. So take myself for example. I before MBA, I worked in for 10 years, over 10 years in finance industry. But I still benefited a lot from this competition because do you remember what we found from the Bloomberg? So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
so when we talk about resources, I will also recommend that we have our finance lab, we have Bloomberg terminal. You can only use the Bloomberg terminal in the physical place. So you can only use that in the school, in the finance lab. Not, you cannot visit Bloomberg from your desktop at your home. So what we did is that we we went to our finance lab for many times, and we found a lot of information, industry related information, and a finance, even more complicated finance information from Bloomberg, and we incorporate that information in our finalized reports. That's why the judges have very good impression of our report, because we do have a lot of solid stuff in that report. So I would say even for me, I learned new skills from preparing for this competition.
I think one thing to add to that is just communicate with your team, because it's a long competition. Try to be there, like try to uh, always see what's happening. Don't just drop the ball at some point. And yeah, I think whatever Keshav and John mentioned are, I think, perfect. The rest.
Awesome. That's pretty much all the questions I had. If you guys have any closing thoughts or want to give shout outs to team members, go for
Well, make you really proud, guys.
it.
Future students.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.